Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
You know, I really love the sound of the new album listening to this. Pop Drunk Snot Bread.
Right. Yeah. It's easier if you put the pause in the middle, right? Like,
I mean, what a great, I got to ask you where you came up with the name of the album and also the incredible images on the cover.
So what's funny about the album title is I thought it would just automatically register with everybody. And that just goes to show you how insane my brain works, because I was like, this is such an easy one. But it's essentially our play on Pop Punk's Not Dead. And I thought, oh, everybody will get this. And not even our hardcore fans got it. Like people are like, I mean, hitting me like going, oh, I've had this album now for a week. The title just hit me like what it is, you know? And it just lended itself to, us being sort of garbage patch or garbage pail type kids on the cover, right. And, that kind of thing. So originally it was going to be called Pop Drunks Not Bread. And then our drummer, Gary, was like, it should be Pop Drunk Snot Bread. So it's just like 4 words that mean absolutely nothing when put together. Anyway, it's for me, it makes it funnier now that literally every single person that I talk to is just like, do you want to explain this to me? Or,
but I mean, the images are so great, and it's like going, and when once again, it's one of those album names to where it's like going, wow, is somebody going to confuse that with another album by Yanni or somebody? No, that's not going to get confused.
No, we definitely have very unique titles, with exception of we released Sorry for Partying, and then the next month that LMFAO band released Sorry for Party Rockin'.
Yes.
And so it was just like, we can't like, seriously, are you?
That's what I love too, Jaret, where you guys always come up with great names for your albums, but also for your tours. And I got to bring this up, listening to the album, I thought it was very nice of you. And correct me if I'm wrong, on the P break and on the public service announcement, is that the voice of Morgan Freeman?
Well, it is not. But boy, does it sound like him. That is that was a $38 Fiverr purchase right there. For us to get someone that sounded just, and I can't imagine it probably would have been 38 grand to get Morgan Freeman, It
would have been a whole mixing cost of the album when you guys, were doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. But the funny thing about that is during our live show, we do some sort of a break most of the time where we'll either do what's called the comedy jam, where we all tell a joke and the audience votes on the best, or we'll do a minute each of a karaoke song and the audience votes. The reason we do that bit is because Rob, our bass player, can't go a whole show without needing to go pee. So we just come up with these different bits and he goes first and then he leaves the stage because he's running down the stairs or wherever to go pee. And we finish the bit and on he comes for the finish of it. So we were actually sequencing the record and I sent the guys, okay, I think this is going to be the sequence. What do you guys think? And Chris actually, of course, just from out of nowhere, just goes, we should just have a pee break on the thing, just like it's our show. The funniest thing about the pee break, though, is that most people aren't going to just listen to this record. Most people are going to stream it and it's going to be on a shuffle or it's, or it's just going to find its way into playlists. Like, you like Green Day and you like Sum 41 and then Bowling for Soup just comes on and it's Morgan Freeman just going, welcome to a Bowling for Soup pee break.
It's like genius, and I mean, all the songs are so much fun. Your voice sounds great. The mix of instruments and everything else. And you've got singles that, have been hits already, like Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
And I Want to Be Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Yeah. And Getting Old Sucks as well. Like that video is huge for us. Mm-hmm. It's been great. Alexa Bliss was sort of a standalone thing and was going to actually go as a bonus track on our second greatest hits, which we just finished, which isn't even out yet. Wow. But quarantine kind of forced us into the studio. We weren't planning on doing an album at all. Mm-hmm. But what do you do when you've been together, pretty much half the month every single month of your life for the last 28 years. And then all of a sudden you're not together. So it's like, man, I miss you guys. What could we do so that we could all just hang? I know we could go make a record, because then we just COVID test and then we're all clear. We lock ourselves in an Airbnb a mile from a studio and there's no access to us. We're being safe and productive.
Right.
And so it was decided we were going to go do the record and there were no songs written. So the songs actually all got written leading up to that. And Alexa just sort of fit into that whole thing. So it came out, obviously, I honestly think if you're a Bowling for Soup fan, this will be your favorite Bowling for Soup album. And I
gotta agree because it sounds so fresh. The songs sound fresh. You guys sound energized. And just like, when you're on tour, in concert, you guys bring a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And
at our age,
you feel that in this album.
Yeah, even at our age, we still bring energy a little bit.
I said that to somebody. I said, because I was looking at it, it's like going, you guys are 2 years away from Bowling for Soup being 30 years.
Yeah.
That's kind of nutty because I remember when you came out, and I remember, obviously everybody knows the big hit in 1985.
Yeah.
All over with the music video and all this stuff. It's like 30 years?
30, man. It's 28 years in and already starting to kind of make plans for what we'll do on that 30th year. And, 12 studio albums. And I think it's like 23 if you include live albums and EPs and things like that. So just super blessed. I mean, honestly, it's a testament not only to our friendships because we put those first, we're family before anything and the happiness of us as individuals, it 100% always comes first. But the real heroes in all of this are our fan base. I mean, we have the most loyal fan base in the world, and it's only proven every single time we tour with like a veteran band, say like Lit, who we just took to the UK, and those guys have been around as long as us, or maybe longer, but had a hit way before we did. And every night they're just like, we just want to play to your fans every single night. They're so awesome. And, and we've heard that our entire career. So, generations come see us. It's so crazy. It's like, someone who might've been a young parent when Girl the Bad Guys Want came out. And now they're bringing their child and their child's child to see us. And it's like 3 generations and they're watching Bowling for Soup. And it's pretty cool. And
I think what's so smart, Jaret, that you guys with Bowling for Soup have always done with your videos too, to where you'll open up a new video with one of your other songs. Yeah. And so it's like going, and I thought, that's just brilliant. Right. Because then if they didn't know that was you, or they hadn't heard that track, then they go back and go, well, I want to listen to that song. Who did that? Oh, that's Bowling for Soup also. Yeah,
that was, that was by design, and we kept that thing we kept that going for years and years and years. We haven't quite kept it up, because making videos now is just so sporadic. And there was sort of like that time where, if you were asked somebody in the biz, they would have said video is dead, which is crazy because video is, even though there's not necessarily MTV playing videos or VH1 or any of that stuff, video is king. It is absolutely the biggest place for discovery still to this day for music is YouTube. The Getting Old Sucks video was actually made by a family who their daughter, Samantha Roche, made, she was, I think 12 years old at the time. And I followed her dad, Michael Roche, on Instagram. Wow. And he posted some puppets that she had made. And I was like, I've been wanting puppets, but I don't want them to be too good,
Right.
I'm the voice of Chuck E. Cheese, so I already do stuff with like real good puppets, like really good. And it's like, that's almost to represent but I want it to be hilarious just looking at the puppet.
Right.
And so anyway, I contacted him. I'm like, hey man, do you think your daughter would, I'll pay her to make me some puppets. Yeah. Anyway, long story short, not only did she, but they just happened to be an entire family of performers. And that family, the Roche family, took 6 weeks and made our video for us.
Oh my gosh.
In the puppet video. So everybody watching should go see this because in it, you get to meet the family and all that. But that that song, it's so cool to me that we have this song and we get her to make these puppets, just this random Instagram post, and all of a sudden we like bring this family together and they make this masterpiece of a video for us, and it just came out really good. So you just kind of never know where it's going to come from or how it's going to happen.
That is incredible. And I want to bring it too. You mentioned with the Chuck E. Cheese voiceover that you are that voice, but also I always enjoyed your work with Phineas and Ferb also.
Yeah.
For all those years, watching that show with my daughter.
Yeah.
And knowing that you were the voiceover for, in the band and all.
Yeah. The voice of Danny in Love Handle. And then I got to write a bunch of songs for that show.
Yes.
I obviously sang the theme, but they were very kind to me. Apparently, Bowling for Soup was a solid choice when Dan and Swampy, the creators, were writing for The Simpsons. And so they both had this love for Bowling for Soup, and they went their separate ways. Dan to Family Guy for 7 seasons, and Swampy to create Rocco's Modern World, Rocco's Modern Life. And then they came back together to do Phineas and Ferb, and we were the choice to do the theme, and then we hit it off, and they allowed me to read for, and actually it was their idea. They were like, hey, we hear you do voiceover. Do you want to read for this? And so yeah, it's super cool, man. And quite a legacy thing, for me, because it's like, my 2 older kids were really little when that came out, actually a little bit too young. And so as their friends started to discover it, it'd be like, yeah, that's my dad, whatever. But now my 9-year-old, is kind of at that age where it's like a Phineas and Ferb will pop on and he'll go, oh, hey, Dad, you're on this one, and yeah, that's me.
It's got to be kind of surreal, Jaret, when it's like, yeah, Dad, look. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
I think that one's really surreal. The Chuck E. Cheese thing is really surreal because it's like all my friends, like just these tattooed, dudes with piercings in their face and just, there they are. It's just like them and their kid at Chuck E. Cheese, and it's a video, and I'm like on the speaker or whatever, like, hey, it's your birthday, and like, and it's just, like, that's to me the craziest thing is that like all of these crazy dudes and chicks that I grew up with in the music industry,
right?
Now are all settled down with kids and stuff, and taking them to Chuck E. Cheese and
going to Chuck E. Cheese and getting the tokens and doing the whole deal.
My voice, yeah, totally.
Oh my gosh! Well, I want to bring up too, Jaret, to where on the big tour for this new album as well, you've got a few major bands joining you on this.
Yeah. So we have been talking to Less Than Jake about a summer tour since before the pandemic. And so this would have probably happened back in 2020. And, obviously the world, is what it is over the last 2 years. And so touring has been very, very, for us, it's been, for the first year, we didn't do anything.
Right.
And then this last year, we just did our first actual tour. It's been more like 2 days here, 3 days there kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, this tour finally came together. For the first leg, it'll be us, Less Than Jake, and the Aquabats, which is a band that we've listened to forever and ever.
Yeah.
And some of your viewers may know that was Travis Barker. Travis Barker was in that band for quite some time. And so yeah, that's the first leg, and then we'll be announcing legs 2 and 3 coming up soon. And we're covering the whole country and getting back out there and doing it, And
well, and I have to say too, Jaret, the album has been called a pop punk masterpiece.
Yeah.
And that I think is also in the public announcement on the album.
Yeah. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I wrote that.
I was hoping so, because I'm like going, that is so awesome.
Well, the album opens up with a song called Greatest of All Time.
Great song.
I always introduce our band as, hey, we're Bowling for Soup. We're the greatest band that's ever lived, or we're the greatest rock and roll band of all time, or whatever it is. And so, for me, being who I am, where I am a little bit silly at times, but then sometimes can be somewhat sentimental, I like putting that out there, because it's like, if you're listening, you're thinking, okay, does he mean that? Or is he just messing with us? And like, is that a shtick? Or does he really believe that? Or, what I mean? And so it's like, why not just own it?
Yes.
If I actually do think that we're the greatest band of all time. So you know what? There you go. But it just made a lot of sense. For that song will make a lot of sense to your viewers who go and and listen to the record, because as I told you, it happened because we were all separated. Yeah. So there's a lot of reflection on the record. There's Greatest of All Time is very much about like us helping to create this genre and to make sure that, we're, if we're not on the Mount Rushmore, we're at least like a mile away on a mountainside somewhere, Right. And then there's Wouldn't Change a Thing and things like that. And even Getting Old Sucks. After all these beers, like I said, a third of the record is me just kind of looking back and going, man, this is awesome. And I love my band and I love what I do.
It really is so sentimental though. Cause I mean, so many of the songs, I got to tell you, Jaret, and particularly like you said, after this 2 years that we've all had, really hit home with me as a listener and as a fan of Bowling for Soup, which I've always loved your guys' music and your positive attitude and just coming out and rocking the fans. But the songs are sentimental and it's like, and I don't think that's a bad thing right now because the whole album is so cohesive.
Yeah. The thing about Bowling for Soup is I think when you hear the name, you think, 1985, Girl the Bad Guys Want, High School Never Ends. That's where you go. That's where your head goes. Mm-hmm. Some people go Stacy's Mom. That's not our song. No. But that's where your head goes. There's a lot of substance in the song. So really, if you're a fan of what we do, you sort of look past the silliness of it and then get into like the meat and potatoes of our songs. And there's a lot going on in there, but my thing was always like, I understand who we are, what our purpose in this business is, what I understand why people listen to our band. And look, it's like a lot of people who came up with us have gone on to do other things that are great. Like I love that Sum 41 is basically a metal band now. It's amazing. Yeah. And I love that Blink-182 got serious and that Green Day went political and of course they're a roller coaster, but it's all great. But people don't want that from us. Like you want to put a record on and just be like, oh gosh, today was a rough day. Like I need to laugh a little bit. Okay. Maybe I will have a beer with the band, kind of thing.
Right.
And then, we kind of like take your heartstrings a little bit here and there. And there's always kind of a love song or a ballad in there. And there's a couple of songs about my wife on this record, which I enjoyed. Thank you very much. Yeah. I mean, but once again, sentimental, the way they came across, Jaret. Yeah. There's a song on there called Let's Just Do the Best We Can. Mm-hmm. And I think it's not only just a love song, it's very much about how, like we all started this pandemic and it's like every week you'd go, all right, I can't go to work, so I'm going to clean the garage. But the garage never got cleaned, right? Or you were going to lose 25 pounds, but instead you put on 20, right. Nothing went the way that, because all we had to do during this time was our one job was to survive. That was it. That for 2 years, literally all of us had the same agenda. Survive. That's right. It, and, so we just needed to do the best we can. So I kind of stopped putting that pressure on myself after, the first 6 months, once the anxiety got under control, and all of that. And I was just like, I'm just not going to put that pressure on myself. We're just going to do the best we can. And so that's pretty much where that song came from. That's amazing. Well, I want to make sure for our viewers also, Jaret, to where they know where to go for Bowling for Soup, with the album out, the singles, the tour, cool merch. Where do our viewers need to go? Everything you can imagine is at bowlingforsoup.com. You can click shows. It'll show you the calendar. We have a store in the US. We have a store in the UK that covers the rest of the world. All of our social media is very active. So you can find us on Facebook. We have an awesome Facebook fan page that's 9,000 strong. Wow. And just the best people in the world. If you don't have any friends, go join the Bowling for Soup fan page, even if you hate us, because all of a sudden you'll just have friends. And, and you can find me everywhere, JARET 2113, or just Jaret Reddick on TikTok. And they need to be sure and add it to their playlist, download it, buy it, come see the concert. It is a pop punk masterpiece. You heard it here first. Yeah. With Pop Drunk Snot Bread. You nailed it. You nailed it twice. Jaret Reddick, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for having me.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of a Bobby Bones Show.